Hey fellow YouTubers, Roland Martin here with some tips on how to save money fishing the #1 bass bait of all times, that's a Senko. You know, one of the problems with a Senko is that these things, there's 10 in a pack and they cost $8. So that's almost 80 cents a piece or so. And people tear them up and there's usually only good for like one fish. Well, I can show you a way to at least double that ratio and maybe use at least twice as efficient and catch twice as many fish on the same Senko. Okay, let me just show you the first thing I do. Well, a few months ago, I showed you my new way of taking a swivel or a snap, like these snaps right here. These are little snaps that go on your line that hold a lure on. And I can take that little snap and I can place it on the line like so on. And I can place it on the line and see that snap is right there on the thing. And that snap fits on the shank of the hook and goes on the line. It hooks right here. And then the weight comes right back over. It could be a swivel or a snap. But the point is that worm is now connected and protected by that snap and the weight, and it's just solid on there. It's just a very, very secure way of doing it. Now there's the old school way. Let me just show you this old school way. Let's talk about a toothpick. You know, for years we had the problem of worms coming off the hook and sliding down the hook and just ruining everything. So let's just take a plastic worm, a Senko. Let's just go through the eye of the first 3/4 of an inch. Let's turn the thing around. Okay, let's bury the hook, just get ready to fish. Now, let's take a toothpick, just a regular toothpick. It's just a regular round toothpick. I like the square ones too. And let's find the hole and right there it is, right there. Okay, I'll just put the toothpick in there. It's right through the line would be through there, of course. And let's just cut that toothpick off. Cut it off here, boom. Turn around this way, cut it off, boom. Now, that toothpick is holding that worm really, really solid in place. That's old school. We've been doing that for 30 or 40 years, but it really does work. That's one of the best ways of keeping the worm on the hook and not having to slide down, particularly when you're fishing in heavy brush. Pegging with a toothpick is a super, super way to do it. Okay, let's talk about a third way. Let's talk about a new kind of hook. There's a hook right there. If you look at it against my shirt, there's a hook right there that has a little barb on the shank of the hook. And what happens to that little barb? Take another Senko. That little barb is really cool. It's a regular EWG hook, but it's got that little barb right here on the hook. And what that barb does is when you thread the Senko on there, turn it around, pull it down into the thing and pull it back, and actually you can pull that barb out, and the barb now, see how the barb is laying up on the side of the worm now? Right there, it's holding it on, and it won't let that hook slide down the hook. Don't let the hook will keep the worm and the barb from sliding down the hook, like particularly in heavy brush. So that's really, really a good hook to use to prevent and to keep far more fish from tearing up your bait. Okay, that's 3 good ways of preserving your worms for extended life. Let's talk about a 4th way. Let's talk about some Superglue. Now that's a gel. I like the gel even better than the liquid. Now let's just take a worm. Let's say it's torn up a little bit. This one here, it's been on a hook and it's maybe caught a bass and it won't stay on the hook good. And let's take that worm and put it on a 1/2 inch or so and slide it up that hook shank this little ways. Bury the point, okay? Now let's take the gel and let's put the gel right up on the front here, right the very front eye. A little bit of gel right there. Okay. Okay, that's it right there. Boom. pull it back, bury the hook, get this gel back in position. Now we have a super glued system that's going to be really holding that thing on really solid as a toothpick, as solid as that little swivel or snap system, or as solid as that little hook that had the shoulder. Now let's show you a fifth way of kind of preserving the worm. It's kind of crazy. I can't do this really good. Some of my buddies do this really well. They'll take a torn up worm head that's a little bit torn up, and they'll heat it up. And they'll heat it. I'm just not going to do this because I'm not real good at it. But they'll just take a bunch of these worms and they'll just heat them up. And they'll just, and again, I'm not a big proponent of this. It's another way of preserving a worm. It's another way of reconstructing the worm for a second use. And again, the heat does something, and it hardens it up, and it does extend the life of a worm. Okay, that's almost a dollar product. So anytime you can extend the life, say another whole fish or two, you've really done something. But let me show the ultimate deal. The ultimate deal in conservation of worms. The ultimate deal in making these worms now, instead of costing 80 and 90 cents a piece, they now cost a couple cents a piece. A couple cents a piece. Let's look at this book. This is so cool. This is the Do It thing. And I know you've heard of these molds that you make sinkers and stuff. You make all these sinker molds, and I do that, and I pour lead, and I got this guy that he's a roofer, and he gives me lead. What the Do It company has done, they make all these molds for all these different things. And what they've done here is a Do It. It's a Do It. And this is the custom-made, tournament-grade molds that they make. Now, here, look at this thing. The Gary Yamamoto Senko. Let me just read that. I'm an old man, I gotta use glasses. Let me just read what it says. You'll really enjoy this. It says, this is the Senko, not a knockoff as you may find elsewhere. From bow to transom and very little rib in between is the exact specifications. As we've done in the past, we have teamed up with Gary Yamamoto, and he has given us license to manufacture a Do It mold that you can create the bait with the very same specifications as his legendary Senko. So this mold, that I don't have one. I don't need one because Gary wants me, he doesn't really want me to use the mold. He just as soon have me use the regular Senkos. But you can get a mold. And they cost, I don't know, $70 or $80, $90. And you can take these molds and melt this plastic down and just throw these things in a pot, all these old worms, and you might come up with a different color. That's a laminate worm, okay? Throw them all in the pot, melt them all down, pour it in the mold. It's a similar kind of mold as this. Pour it in there. You have the exact Senko all back again for nothing, except for a little bit of electricity and heat and stuff like that you've had to invest in and the mold itself. But the point is, you can have a brand new Senko for next to nothing. So that's 5 or 6 really good ways of saving a lot of money fishing the Senko. It's an expensive sport, but hey, if you're going to fish the #1 bait in the world, you need plenty of them. Hey, save some money in the process. Hey, I've enjoyed doing these YouTube videos. I post every Wednesday at about 6 o'clock, and also every Sunday at about 6 o'clock. And I really appreciate you subscribing because, boy, it keeps all my sponsors happy. It keeps me happy. I enjoy doing it. In fact, I know a lot about fishing, and it's just fun to me as a teacher, teaching you a few little tricks that I've learned along the way. So thanks for watching. He's got it. Okay. Oh, yeah. I got him. That's probably the one that I just missed. Probably the same one, that backup fish. Have a good backup like this old Senko, you'll catch big fish. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, folks. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Look at this guy. Whoa, son. Bank fishing at its best. Bass fishing, bank style. Senko worm. I tell you what, can't beat it. A nice fat little bass on a Senko. Nice big ones. Yes, sir. Nice big ones. That's as good as they get. That's as good as they get, son.